It's time to take a look at one final mock draft before the college football season begins. So much will probably change between now and the NFL draft next year. And it's just fun to do these exercises to put these together. So let's dive into what is going to be a very exciting time, a very exciting draft for the 2022 college football season and for the 2023 NFL draft. The Houston Texans are up first, and really the first few picks have been kind of a consensus. Really just depends on your preference. I believe that CJ Stroud is the better prospect than Bryce Young in terms of quarterbacks going into next year. Obviously, we will see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what CJ Stroud is able to do at the next level. And Houston obviously needs a quarterback, so that fills one of their needs. Now, Atlanta has Desmond Ritter, so I don't think that they're going to go with a quarterback route. I think that they're going to go elsewhere. And I think it's going to be tough for them to pass on a talent like Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. I think that that's just two of the easiest prospects to pick at this point. We'll go with Will Anderson. It's terrifying. It reminds me of like when they had Vic Beasley when he was doing really well. So it's going to be fun to see what Atlanta is able to do with some of those players that they have and adding Will Anderson to that roster. Chicago is up next. Someone's got to be able to protect Justin Fields. And from what I've seen in the preseason, now granted, don't take that, take that with a grain of salt with what you see in the preseason. But I think that they need someone to protect Justin Fields. I feel like wide receiver would be too much of a stretch here to go that high. So I would give him someone that's going to protect him. I'm a big fan of Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. I think that he is going to be a phenomenal. And one of the things that, we've seen from, at least from Pro Football Network here, which is where this mock draft is being done, sometimes he struggles with leverage, with length and size, but I think that overall he's still really good and all Big Ten type talent, someone that you're just not going to overlook too much and you're not going to overthink when you're picking him. Next, we have Detroit, and Detroit needs a quarterback. And fortunately for them, because the teams ahead of them don't need quarterbacks, that leaves them with Bryce Young. And if you fall into Bryce Young, it feels like it's going to be a pretty good option when it's all said and done. I think that it's kind of hard to go against picking Bryce Young. I think that's going to be one of the things that Detroit is really going to have no troubles with is picking a quarterback. It feels like they're either going to fall into Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, depending on what Houston thinks. And if everybody stays put and doesn't actually move up, then I think that you're going to see a team that is going to fall into a great quarterback. Seattle is up at 5. Now, they also need a quarterback, so that's one of those teams that could trade up. And I just really like this quarterback class. Now, the question is, who is going to be that quarterback that they take? Will Levis has been one of those players that's been talked about as a first-round pick. Tyler Van Dyke is a pretty good option too. Anthony Richardson, if he has a big year, I think could be one of the higher picks in this draft. So just for fun, let's pick Anthony Richardson. Let's send him to the Seahawks. That I think that'll just be really fun to do. I think that's someone that is going to elevate his game this year and really put his stock at a higher level than we really expect. The Jets are up next, and honestly, I think the Jets are going to be a little bit better. Now, obviously, I don't know what's going on with Zach Wilson, what the severity of his injury is. So that is a question. Let's see what Pro Football Network has listed. Offensive tackle, safety, linebacker currently. That's tough. And I'm not going to do any trades here because that gets too in depth, if you ask me. But let's look at the tackles here. I think Paris Johnson is going to be solid, although I've heard a lot of things that he's going to maybe play guard. Darnell Wright is really interesting. Even Connor Galvin, I think he's going to have a big year. Let's go Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. He's a great player, protects Hendon Hooker. Now, a lot of times maybe doesn't need to block as much as the other guys, but I think Darnell Wright is a really good tackle. I think he's going to rise up draft boards when it's all said and done. Jacksonville, oh man, Jacksonville is going to be, at least I think that they're going to be going in the right direction. But the fact that Jalen Carter is still on the board at 7 feels like it should be something that they should consider. When we look at what they need, D tackle is kind of a need, edge, wide receiver. I think you need to give Trevor Lawrence someone to throw to. It feels like Jackson Smith-Njigba would be a good pick here. So why not? Let's just go Jackson Smith-Njigba and let them throw the ball around because I think that'd be fun for Trevor Lawrence to utilize. And then we go to Carolina. Carolina is, I'm not sure how they feel about Baker Mayfield, but obviously they don't need a quarterback anymore. And maybe they would go there, but I don't think that they would. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with their pick at 8. This is still a top 10 pick. And I think that's something that they will think about, but probably not think about too much. Oh, Miles Murphy is there. Wow, that's really exciting. The other thing with these mock drafts is it's really tough to decide who you're just going to go with based off of what's available. You're not going to pick a guard, an interior defender this early. So, quarterback's not going to be an option. So, wide receiver, or just go Keishawn Butte. That's really, it seems like an easy pick. The Giants, again, the Giants are really fun. I think that they did really well in the draft. They have quite a few picks that I think we're going to work out for them. I think that at this point, they do need a quarterback. I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer. So I think we're going to go. Again, I just don't see Will Levis. I see the tools. I just don't see the consistency. So I'm going to go Tyler Van Dyke to New York. Don't know if I really like that, but that's just what we're going to go with. I think that it's just a good pick at this point. And then we get to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is been making some headlines. They picked Kenny Pickett. They have Mitch Trubisky, and the wide receivers have been doing really well. Calvin Austin, George Pickens. So they're really set in terms of those positions. When you look at the defense, though, I think that you're going to need a little bit of help on the defensive side of the ball. But you also need a tackle, safety, linebacker. We'll see. The defense, obviously, yeah, like I said, needs to pick things up. Keely Ringo being available is tempting. Miles Murphy is always. I mean, if you could add Miles Murphy with TJ Watt, that would be quite the duo on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see. Noah Sewell is really fun. You know what? Let's go with the athletic. I think Trenton Simpson is a good fit for them. Let's go with them picking Trenton Simpson. He's really fun to watch, super athletic, the hard hitter, has a nose for the football. That'll be really fun to watch. Washington needs someone to block for them. Maybe Sam Howell is the answer at quarterback, but we will see. Paris Johnson still on the board, pretty easy there. Then we go to New England. New England is set at quarterback. We're going to talk about quarterback every single time, but set at quarterback, so really not anything that they need. You can see they need cornerback, safety, linebacker. Keely Ringo is available. Let's see who PFN has. Keely Ringo. Eli Ricks, I'm not super sold on. Antonio Johnson is more of that like safety type. So let's actually go Keely Ringo. That's a pretty good pick for them. Then you go to the Eagles. Eagles, oh man. Eagles get a chance at Miles Murphy. I feel like you can't really pass that up. But also Jalen Carter is still on the board. That's what's interesting about this. You know what? They need DT over a defensive end. So let's pick Jalen Carter at 13. That's a great option for them. The Cardinals, what do the Cardinals need? They don't need a quarterback because they have someone that can watch film now. That joke is honestly overplayed. I'm kind of sick of it, so I will actually stop. Wide receivers in need. You know what? They need someone, a big body. I think that's going to be a younger big body. Quentin Johnson, if you don't know his name, please get to know it. He's going to be a very good player when it comes time to go to the NFL draft. I don't think a lot of people know about him. So I think that's something to pay attention to. The Raiders, let's see. What do the Raiders need? Offensive tackle, edge, running back. Oh, edge, Miles Murphy. Yeah, for sure. We'll give him the edge there. I really like that pick. I think Miles Murphy is phenomenal. Go watch his tape. Dude does a little bit of everything for that defense. It's really tough to block him. And man, I'm really excited to see him at the next level. I think that he's going to do some pretty great things when it's all said and done. Okay, Tennessee. Tennessee Titans. They don't need a running back, that is for sure. Linebacker, tight end, edge. That's some pretty good options. Linebacker, Noah Sewell's available. Nolan Smith is available. Oh man. Okay, we're just gonna go Noah Sewell. Noah Sewell is an absolute beast at linebacker. I think that that's someone that you really can't pass up when you're looking at guys to add. Texans get a pick again. They're looking for edge. I feel like Nolan Smith is a good option for them there. So we will go with Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith is freaky athletic, has really good length too. So that is someone that is going to make a major impact at the next level. Let's see who else can. Oh, my Minnesota Vikings. Unfortunately for me, they need some help on the inside, and that's perfect because I know the perfect guy for them. Brian Bresee, absolute beast. The minute that he stepped onto campus, I think that he's absolutely phenomenal. Matt Ryan needs. No, they don't really need. I think so. The thing with Alec Pierce has stepped up for this team. Guard, tackle, edge. Oh man, someone to play with Quentin. Wow, that's going to be interesting. So let's look at what we have available here. Ooh, BJ Ojolari is an intriguing option. I think that they're obviously not picking. They're not picking quarterback. They're not picking a running back. Let's go with Cam Smith, actually. I really like Cam Smith. I think he's going to be fun to watch. I think that he is someone that you need to pay attention to. Philly is up next. Jalen Hurts needs someone in the backfield to join him. Let's give him Bijan Robinson. That's really fun. The Cincinnati Bengals are a really scary team. If you're watching them, you're seeing what they're capable of doing. And they need some help on defensive side of the ball and the secondary. They actually need. I still think that they need someone to help block for Joe Burrow. So that's someone. Let's see. Oh, Cyrus Torrance. I think he's an absolute beast. I think that he could be someone that they look at in the next round. Center, no. Tackles that, like I said, they need someone. Who's a guy that I think is going to sneak up? Blake Freeland. He's going to be someone to watch if you haven't seen him already. I think that he is out of BYU, an underrated player that people aren't talking about. So that's someone to pay attention to. But let's see. What does defense have to offer? Cornerback, Eli Ricks. Actually, Antonio Johnson. I really like that. I think that he's a good fit for that defense. Antonio Johnson is like a linebacker safety hybrid, so that's going to give them some intriguing options. Baltimore is the debate over whether or not Lamar Jackson is good or not is just really funny. Jordan Addison being available is interesting. I think that would be a good pairing. Josh Downs is also available. But we'll go with Jordan Addison. The Litnikoff winner from last year is really good. Someone that I think is going to be a problem for a lot of teams and at the next level. Dallas is up next. The Dallas Cowboys are, I think that I feel that they are pretty much overrated when you're looking at a consistent basis year in and year out. Just feels like we get a lot of hype and not the results that meet it. They do need an edge. BJ Ojolari is available, but let's look at who else we could take. Isaiah Foskey is very interesting. I'm going to go with Isaiah Foskey. I really like his versatility in Notre Dame system. That's something to keep an eye on. Then we go to Seattle. Let's see what they have available at the defensive line. Oh man, this is tough. These three right here, Javon Dexter, Kalijah Cansey, and Siaki Ika, three really good players that I think is going to be tough to pick between. I think Dexter, again, is kind of like his teammate Anthony Richardson, could rise up pretty high, but I'm actually going to go with Kalijah Cansey. I think that he is super underrated. Javon Dexter has those traits though, so we'll see what happens. But then we go to Miami. Miami needs some help on the defense side of the ball. And Justin Flo being the highest, pretty crazy. I don't think Ivan Pace Jr. is going to be that high. I think his brother, Deshaun Pace, is going to be higher when it's all said and done. Henry Choto is an interesting prospect, very smart prospect. So that's something to keep an eye on. Let's see what else they need. OC, tight end, safety, linebacker. Let's look at safety. Brandon Joseph is available. Jordan Battle. I really like JL Skinner. We're actually going to go with him. Later round pick, someone who could really rise up in there. Again, like I said, a lot of these things are going to change, so that's going to be interesting to see who rises, who drops, and all that stuff. With when it comes to the NFL draft, there's so much to keep an eye on. So that's something to pay attention to. The Chargers need some help up the middle, and I know exactly who to give them because we just talked about him, Javon Dexter. Then we go to Detroit. Detroit is going to need well, let's see. We already drafted Bryce Young. That's solves one of their big needs. And then linebacker, wide receiver, safety. So let's see what we have available still. Linebacker, wide receiver, nobody really in safety. We have Jordan Battle. Let's see what wide receiver. Josh Downs, that could be really fun. I think that's potentially really good. Although they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, so that maybe isn't the route that they would go. Maybe they wait a little bit later. You know what? It's hard to pass on Jordan Battle. I think that he's really good. I think Brandon Joseph still has to prove something before I believe he's a first round pick. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Kansas City, I feel like giving them an offensive player is just what you're supposed to do, but we will see. Offensive tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver. I feel like they get a wide receiver every year, but offensive tackle, defensive tackle. Let's see what's available. Actually, I believe I know what I want. Just make sure that Siaki Ika is who I want to go with. Although, yeah, some of these guys you could push into the first round. Let's go with Siaki Ika, a guy that's really needs to find some consistency, but I believe that he is going to be really fun to watch when you're looking at what he's capable of doing. Green Bay, the dreaded Packers. Wide receiver is interesting because if Christian Watson and Romeo Dubs are exactly what they need, then wide receiver is definitely not going to be a team need. OT and corner, I agree that that could be use some work. Obviously, if you're going to put someone in that secondary, you need someone that's going to be able to play. Clark Phillips is very interesting. I think we're going to go with Clark Phillips. Eli Ricks, I don't know. I feel like I need to see him get back to his old form, his freshman form, before I just jump on that train, jump on that bandwagon. Tampa Bay, second to last pick. We have 31 picks because the Dolphins. Yeah, if you don't know that situation, go check it out. That's the reason why there's only 31 picks in the first round of this draft. Tampa Bay quarterback, it'd be interesting, although we'll see. Edge, linebacker. I don't know. It's very interesting. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is an interesting player out of Kansas State. I feel like BJ Ojolari allows more upside for this team, so we're going to go with him. And then the last one is the Buffalo Bills, DT tight end, and then interior offensive line. So let's see who's available. Cyrus Torrance. Feels like this interior group is a little bit weaker right now. Things obviously could change. Tight end, the fact that Michael Mayer is still on this board is crazy. So let's end it actually with Michael Mayer here, and that will do it. And like I said, a lot of things will change when it's all said and done. The college football season will change quite a bit, and it'll allow people to rise their stock. It might hurt their stock, so that'll be interesting. It'll be fun to see. If you agree, disagree, comment below. Let me know what you guys think. It's going to be interesting to see these mock drafts evolve over the season. This is just one of them, the final one before the season begins, before we get new data to input for these prospects to evaluate. So let's have a good discussion of who you think is going to be good, who is a first round pick that is not being talked about, all of that stuff. Comment below, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let's get excited for college football.